It's morning for me, so I'm a little tired right now. So forgive me for that. But um, I've been kind of thinking. I mean, I've been thinking a lot. And I've come to the conclusion that I don't like the world. I don't understand why it's like this. And I I think we can change it. I don't think it would even be that hard. I think we can do it. Um, and so pretty much the conclusion I came to is that, you know, everyone's trying to find their purpose and meaning in life, right? They're trying to be like, okay, why am I here? You know, what am I living for? Why am I doing this? And I have been asking myself this question. Why am I doing this? Where am I going? You know, when is enough enough, right? And when I look at my career path, I look at my future by looking at the people that are in those positions now, and I don't want it, right? And then you take that outside of the workplace, right? And you look at the world, and I look at what my future is, and I look at where we're heading, and I don't want it, right? So if I don't want the future that is quote unquote inevitable, right? If I stay where I am, if I stay on this trajectory, I know that I will be miserable, not only just now, but in the future. And it'll probably only get worse with time, right? So why would I want that? Why would I do that, right? And so I've been kind of stuck with this question of, okay, well, if you don't like where your future is heading, if you don't like the world you're living in, oh, what are you going to do about it, right? Because what can you change? And you can say, oh, you know, you don't like how it is at your job, get a different one, right? Oh, you don't like how it is in your country, go to a different one. Oh, you don't like how it is, you know, in your, your community or whatever, you know, find a different one, right? And in some sense, that's decent advice. Not everything requires you to rebuild it, right? Sometimes, if you have to rebuild it from the ground up, it may not be worth it to do, right? However, when it comes to something like the rest of my life, when it comes to something like the future of humanity, there's nowhere to run to, right? There's no job I can get that's going to satisfy what I want, because what I want is to make legitimate, lasting change. I don't want to change the world, like, right? That's like a motivational quote. You're growing up. Grow up and you can change the world. I don't want to just ironically say, I want to change the world. No, I literally want to change the world, because if I can't change the world, I don't know what's the point of living. Because I don't know if anyone will be able to live for much longer. And maybe I'm being hyperbolic here. Maybe that's an exaggeration. Maybe I'm overinflating the issues. But I truly don't think anyone has. I think we're living in a world of delusion. Everyone is assuming that things are under control and it's figured out, right? But what's happening is that there are people that, you know, in theory know stuff, right? But they're not panicking. So the average person doesn't panic, right? But the people that know stuff aren't panicking because their bosses aren't panicking. And their bosses don't understand, not necessarily, right? And so their bosses aren't panicking because if they panic, everyone panics, right? They can't panic because that's the real burden of a leader. You have to make the decisions and you have to know that they're right. And you have to trust yourself that they're right, even though you may not have all the information, even though you're not totally certain. So being a leader is not an easy job. And anyone that wants to be a leader, the average leader is put into the position because they have the qualities needed. That's when you get a good leader. But if you want to be a leader because you like the power and you like to tell people what to do, typically a bad leader. And so, I don't I don't want to be a leader. I don't want to do this alone. I don't want to be some quote unquote savior. But I don't want to live in a world that is so lost, right? Like what's the plot here? Where are we going? What's going on? Right? And as I see the potential reasons for conflict increasing, all I can ask myself is, how do we, what is the end game with this? The only, if every country keeps increasing their hostility and their military and resources continue to dwindle, right? How is another world war not inevitable, right? What are we, the current trajectory we're on, it seems like self-annihilation, right? Because the problem is not that, the solution everyone seems to have is, we'll get it from someone else, rather than trying to think of how do we go without, or how do we make it our own, right? There just seems to be a lack of a lot of things. It doesn't make any sense to me. And, and so there's really nowhere you can run to. If you want to make change, you just got to start. And it's so difficult to find a place to be like, okay, this is it. Here we go. Right? Because it's so uncertain. It's like, okay, well, is this really the best thing I could be doing? And, something is better than nothing is what I've been coming to find here. And so, I can't, there's no point of starting fresh somewhere new, because then I'm starting from ground zero again when I'm 20% into the construction, right? That just seems foolish. Let's resolve the issues and continue going, right? Just because something's not working doesn't mean that we can't still salvage the construction, right? If we're at 100% construction and the foundation is failing, that's a problem, right? That's not that it can't be solved, but that's a problem that needs to be addressed. And I think that's where we are right now, right? We have a quote unquote society and civilization built up, but the foundations are cracking and starting to crumble. And I feel like everyone is ignoring it because they don't know how to fix that. And the answer is that if you need to fix the foundation, you got to lift the house. I'm pretty sure. I don't think you can fix the foundation without lifting the house, right? Or the building, right? So maybe you can, but in order to repair the foundation, right, you got to lift the house. But if you want to lift the house, then you got to get out of it. But people don't want to get in the house. It's nice in the house. It's comfortable, right? They don't want to go. They don't want to live a different way, even if it's just semi-temporary. They don't want to do that. They'd rather live in the collapsing house than repair it. And repairing it's going to cost money. And I really don't understand the fascination. If you idolize anyone for being a millionaire or a billionaire and they're not doing significant work to help the planet, then, you really need to rethink you really need to rethink that. Why are they great for being rich? Them being rich means that millions are poor. Where's the good in that? And what are they doing to help the world? Oh, it's not their responsibility? Why not? Why not? It is all of our responsibilities to help the world. Just because they have all the money to do it, that means they're not responsible, right? Just because they built their own wealth, they're not responsible, right? I'm not saying that like you can't have money, like you can't have things that make you happy, you can't have things that make you, feel more comfortable. But there comes a certain point when you look at the amount of money someone has and you ask, why? And for what reason do you need that, right? And, you look at things that people have and you ask, why? For what reason do you need that, right? We have people starving. We have people homeless. We have people that don't have proper education, don't have proper water. They don't have proper sanitation. Why are we building this useless junk when we can be benefiting the world? And there's really no, like you look at it and all I can say is that it's evil. Hoarding wealth is evil when there is suffering in the world. If everyone was not suffering, right? If everyone had the basic needs of proper water, food, sanitation, education, things along these lines, if everyone had that, if that was all solved, all right, fine, do what you want. But it's not. And honestly, I don't think it ever will be. And so I don't understand why this is even a thing, right? And it just goes to show the issues with the world, right? Because it doesn't matter how much money I have. If the world is collapsing around me, what good is money going to be? I'm kind of come to a conclusion that I could work my butt off and save up a ton of money, but I don't know why I'm doing that, right? Because what's the point of having a retirement fund if there's no retirement, right? If I never make it there, or by the time I get to retirement, there's no feasible way to do it, right? Like, it doesn't make any sense, right? So I would much rather spend my time and energy on making it so that other people can retire, and so that there is a future, and so that people are healthier in general and things along these lines. And I don't know. Starting this is difficult, but it needs to happen somewhere, right? And there are a lot of people that want this. I'm not saying I'm the only person that wants this, but doing it alone is tremendously harder than doing it with a group of people with like-minded ideas, right? And so if enough people come together and say, you're right, this is messed up, like, what's going on here, we need to fix this, then I think it'll happen. But if we all keep trying to do it by ourselves, right, so we think, oh, well, that's not really related to my field. Like, I'm just going to focus on solving, hunger in my community, right? And that's important, and you should be doing that. But we also need to start thinking, okay, well, I'm solving hunger in my community. Who's solving the education in my community, right? And, you may say, well, that's not really my expertise, but that doesn't mean there isn't crossover. Everything has relation to everything else. And so you can kind of double dip into certain things, right? And teach people stuff while feeding them, right? And you can, you can just, I'm not going to try and give up too many examples, because there's probably an infinite number of ways that you can kind of do this. And I don't really understand. I don't understand our world. I don't understand why it's like this, right? But I can't help but feel empty when I look at it. I'm like, okay, what? Why? All I can ask is why, right? I don't understand. And it seems like the common trend is when I'm not working, I watch sports, or when I'm not working, I go out and I drink. And I can't help but ask, why? Why? Right? And the only answer is that it's easier to ignore the problems and pretend like life is good and just occupy yourself with something distracting rather than to actually take action, do anything, or work towards change, right? And so as long as people keep themselves distracted, they feel less obligated to do anything. And I just, it's so empty. Like, if this is what humanity is, if this is the future for it, like, I don't care about it, right? I don't care for this. Why would I want this to be upheld? This sucks. It sucks. I'm sorry. It sucks. This sucks. If this is the future of humanity, if what the world looks like now is a precursor for the future, it sucks. I don't want to be a part of it. I don't want to be a part of it. It's broken, right? I don't want to be on the front page of something that's broken. I don't want to be like, this is our great masterpiece, and it's a pile of poop. It's a pile of poop. I don't want my name attached to that. There was no effort put in. Someone did the project last minute, and everyone took credit, and then it got submitted, and no one knows how to present it because they didn't do any of the work, right? They're like, well, this is what we made, and this is how it functions, and they have no idea. They don't know how it works. They don't know what they built because they didn't build it. Everyone's just BSing right now. And it's just very concerning to me. I'm not saying I have all the answers, but I have ideas. And I don't think it's impossible to make a difference, to make a change. But saying it can't be done, to saying that there's no solutions, to saying that this is how it has to be, then why are we even doing this, right? Because if this is how the world has to be, I don't see humans surviving for much longer. I just don't. I'm sorry, but I don't. We are actively destroying ourselves, whether it be from climate catastrophe or it be from self-inflicted unhealthy bodies that aren't capable of survival, or it be from self-annihilation through warfare and destruction, right? Like, at some point, or if it be, we run out of resources and the entire world is just, it doesn't know how to function without them, or even potentially we accidentally sterilize ourselves without even realizing it. Like, there's just so many ways that the world, not really the world, but humanity and our society and our community can collapse. Like, we are not as resilient as you think we are. Things are not as in control as you think they are. People do not understand as much as you think they do. And I don't know why I'm doing this if we're not going to try and make a change, right? And that's the conclusion that I've come to try and bring it back to where I started. I'm working at a job and we're building buildings, technically, like if you look at what I'm doing, am I making a difference in the world? Technically, yes, right? We're making a difference because we're building buildings, right? However, is that really changing the world, or is it just keeping the status quo, right? And when you work for a company that is basically just contracted or hired to do what the person contracting you wants, and it's based off of the budget available and the timeline and all these things, right? That really hampers your ability to make any real change in the world. And you're like, oh, well, I think it'd be a good idea to use, a more energy efficient method, or more sustainable design, but it's going to cost you an extra $1 million. Well, no, they don't want that, right? An extra million, that's out of the budget. And that's just an example. It's probably more than $1 million in the reality of things, because you got to pay for the equipment, the labor, the design, all of these things. And that's why it doesn't happen, right? Because if it's too expensive, it's much easier to just pretend it's not a problem and pass it off to someone else than to address it. And that is the world that we are in. Oh, I want to be more sustainable, but it's not cost effective. Okay, well, is it going to be cost effective when the world's on fire? I want to say no, right? So what's the logic there? And the answer is there isn't logic, because no one's thinking enough in the future. They're not. Well, I won't say no one, but the majority of people are not thinking far enough into the future to care, right? And that's a problem in itself. But I have thought about my future. I've thought about what I'm doing, and I've decided I'm not really happy here, right? It's not that I hate my life. It's not that, I'm in a constant struggle. It's not that this is the worst thing ever. But this doesn't satisfy me. This will never be enough. Because it's empty. There's barely anything to it, right? I can get promotion after promotion after promotion, but it's just a name. It comes with more money, right? That's great, but I don't care. I don't need to be wealthy. I just want to be happy. And I think the average person can say the same, right? They just want to be happy at the end of the day, and they assume that being wealthy will make them happy. But how about we make it so that you can be happy without wealth, right? And then you solve that problem. Why don't we make it so that the quality of life for the average person is better, rather than making it so the average person needs more money to increase their quality of life? And so, I'm looking at where I am, and I'm like, okay, well, if I'm not happy now, I'm never going to be, and I'm never going to be happy here. Okay, well, then what am I going to do to change it, right? And so for me, right now, I've been working my position for a little over 2 years now, right? So I have some basis at the company. I might as well try and make it work there, right? And see if I can make a change. And if they refuse, or there's no meaningful way to do it, then I have to look elsewhere, right? And I don't know what I'm looking for necessarily. I don't think that there's any one thing that's going to satisfy me. And that's why I really felt like I thought about looking at other positions and being like, okay, well, maybe I look at and see what's out there. Maybe I look and see if I can find something that's a better fit for me. And I decided pretty quickly. I didn't even look for more than probably 5 minutes. I'm like, what am I looking for? And the answer is there's not. I'm not looking for anything. There's no job description that's going to be like that. That's what I want to do, because I don't want to do a job. I want to change the world, and I don't want to change just one thing. There's too many things I want to do to be put in any position, and that's my problem. Really, it's in my average every day. I have so many things I want to do. I just don't have enough time to do them all. Right? There's so many things I want to pursue. I want to make more paintings. I want to do more drawing. I want to read more books. I want to do more writing. I want to make more videos. I want to, right now I've been doing so many talk videos. I want to make more artsy videos where I'm doing skits or things along those lines again. I want to have more fun with my channel and things along those lines. And I just don't have the time to do it, right? Because I have a life I have to live as well, right? I already dedicate probably, I don't know, 60 to 70% of my free time to what I would consider research and development and production of my videos. And my videos are the minimalist amount of effort I can pretty much put into them. I record, I, review it, make sure that it sounds decent, and then, it gets posted. Like I don't do anything crazy. I don't have editing where I'm showing different images and slides and stuff like that because I don't have time to do that. And I just don't have the will to do that. Like I could make my videos better quality, but I don't care to do that. So, pretty much what I'm saying is that I'm lost, right? But I have no real urge to get found, right? Like I have no desire to get home because home is a mess, right? So I ran away from home because I hated it. And I don't know where I'm going. But like I don't really want to go home, right? So I'm kind of lost out here, right? And I just I'm just I've just kind of been waiting, right? And I just actually recently watched a video that says, "Hey, maybe don't run away and maybe like just wait, see how things play out." And that's what I've been doing, and that's what I guess I'm going to continue to do. And I'm going to see how things go. But like I don't know. It's not that I'm, I struggle to justify why I should do anything other than, like working in my garden. I can wake up early and I can go out and I can work in my garden all day. I can do things around my house. I can chop wood and do all these things. I can do all that all day, no problem. It's not an issue. But when I think about pursuing my career, increasing my future prospects for my career and trying to get that next promotion and really work my way up the ladder, I'm just like, why? Why would I do that? I have zero drive to work my way up the ladder. Because what's at the top? What's at the top? There's nothing. There's nothing there. It's empty. And so, yeah, I don't know. I don't have all the answers. I don't really know what I'm doing, right? But I know that something needs to change, and I know that I want to do it. And I think if just enough people agree, we can make something happen here, right? But like, I don't want to do it alone, right? This is not a one person solves the world type of problem. And so, yeah, I don't know. I guess, we got to start somewhere. I don't know. I think I decided I might try and start a Substack. I don't really know what Substack is necessarily, but I might try and start one, and look into what that is because I'm writing something. I can't. I don't want to talk about it until it's done because I don't know exactly where it's going to go yet. But I'm writing something, and I want to make it available. But I don't want money for it. Like I want to be able to like type it up as a document, right? I'm gonna start a Substack because I think I can do this on there. I think I can upload the PDF of the whole thing when it's finally written onto there so that if someone wants it, I can put a link to my Substack on the YouTube video, and then that'll take them to the Substack where they can then download the PDF. That's what I want it to be, right? Because I also want to start writing just more in general. It just goes into more. There's so many things I want to do, right? But there's one thing that I'm like a project that I'm working on, and I want to make it available, and I just don't know exactly what the best way to do that is. So that was my thinking. That's what I'm going to do, but I don't know if that's actually even possible on there. So potentially that'll never happen. But that's my plan right now. So I don't know. Yeah. Peace out. Peace out.